You already saw how to write inline styles. That means you write the styles inline within the element's attributes. Now, the next way to write styles is inside the style element, which you write inside the head element. So you see over here, the second way is over here. So let's take a look. So let's say if your website, which is common, is going to have multiple hundreds and thousands of different P elements, right? Because you're writing multiple content pieces, right? Different paragraphs, and your website is pretty big, right? Let's say it's one page, for example, in this case, right? So you will have to write this color, font, background color for all of these P inline elements, right? So let's say if you have 10 of these, you will have to write this multiple times. That's a lot of duplicate code. Now, to prevent that, we can actually write this style inside the style element and define these particular styles at one place. So I'm basically going to remove this, all right, and just make it a P element. And over here in the head element, I'm going to create a style element, right, like such. Now over here, I'm going to use this full syntax, right, not just the property and value, but the selectors as well. So what is a selector? Selector simply says these are the elements I want to select or I want to apply my CSS on. And selectors come in multiple types. These are the different kinds of ways we can actually use the selectors. So we're going to go with the simplest example. You see basic selectors, and you see the element name over here. I'm just going to zoom in. You see element name over here. That's what we're going to use. So basically, let's say if you want to apply a style to all the P elements, we're gonna simply write in P over here as the selector name because P is the selector, and we're gonna put in our curly braces, and over here we're gonna write the property and the value. So the property is color, and let's say the value is red, semicolon, and then on the next line we're gonna write background dash color, and we're gonna make it green. And what was the third thing? We had something called font size. That's going to be 25 pixel. And just for having a little bit of fun, we can do, let's say, font weight is going to be bold. And we're going to make the letter spacing. So over here, where is our cheat sheet? We have something called letter spacing. Letter spacing, so the space between the letters. So we're going to simply play around with that as well. Letter spacing. And we're going to make it, let's say, 10 pixels, all right, just for having fun. All right, let's see what happens. Now I'm going to save, refresh, and you see that we applied our styles to the P element, all the P elements on our page, and these are the styles which are going to be applied. And you see the letter spacing, because of which these spaces are a lot, right? That's with letter spacing, and it's bold. So if I don't want to make it bold, I'm going to make it normal, like such. Save, refresh, and you see it's slightly, normal looking. Actually, the colors are pretty bright, so you may not have noticed it, but it's done. Now, the beauty with this is, so let's say you're going to have a lot of different P elements, right? A lot of it. So you see I made a copy of these, so many of these, right? I'm going to save, refresh, and you see all the P elements are going to have the same style because I said that P was the selector. That means, hey CSS, go to all the P elements and apply these styles to it. So that's what we do when we are writing these styles inside a particular style element. We define the selector and we define the styles, and it gets applied everywhere. So let's say if we have, let's say an H1, and let's say we want the H1 to be blue, so color blue, save, and semicolon, and let's say if we have a H1 over here, header here, save, refresh, you see it's blue in color, and by default the font size of the header is big because that's just natural with HTML. All H1, H2, H3s are big, right? So that's how you do it. So let's say if you have another, let's say element, maybe a div. So I'm going to say all the divs should be, let's say, or let's not use div, let's say maybe H2s. So let's say if you have an H2 and you want all the H2s to be, let's say, brown in color. And let's say if there's a, after the first few paragraphs, we have H2, oops, H2, second header, save, refresh, and you see the second header is brown. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to talk to you in the next, where we're going to look at the third way of applying styles. All right, talk to you in the next video.